November. The Green Grub. November had arrived, the last month of autumn. The Green Grub decided to ask Dolly if he could spend the winter at her house. He knocked quietly on her door, but no one appeared. He knocked again. The ladybird girl eventually heard him and looked out. "Hi, Grub." "Hello, Dolly." "I was wondering," he began, but Dolly interrupted him. "I'm sorry, Grub, but I'm in a hurry. The great lightning beetle is coming to visit us soon, and we want to hold a concert in his honour. You can tell me when I come back, okay?" "Okay," the grub reluctantly agreed. He came back again the next day, but the ladybird girl still did not have time for him. She was practicing pretty music with Stanley and Alfonso. "Come in, Grub. We can talk after the rehearsal," Dolly offered. The grub listened to the music for a little while, but it was too loud for him, so he left. He came again the next day, but the ladybird girl was not at home. He found a large leaf outside her house, and so he decided to lie on the leaf while he waited for her. He soon fell fast asleep and did not notice when the wind blew the leaf away. When he woke up, he was on the beach and a very long way from home. Dolly and her friends continued to practice on their instruments. By the time the great lightning beetle arrived, they were really ready and gave a perfect performance in honour of their friend in the Forest Concert Hall. Berry played the trumpet, Morris the horn, Frank the saxophone, Flutter the lyre, Bubble the triangle, Balthazar the zither, Rosita the xylophone, Eddie the cello, Stanley the double bass, Dolly the harp, Alfonso the violin. The ants played the flutes, Zephyr and Leapy the cymbals, Charlie the accordion, and the spider played the drums. The ladybird girl only remembered the grub when the special guest left. "Where could the grub be? It's all my fault if something bad has happened to him. I didn't notice him go. I should have listened to him." Dolly was very upset indeed. The wind saw her crying. "I should never have blown the leaf so far away," he thought to himself, and then he blew through the whole sky searching for the green grub. He finally found him curled up on a seashell, so then he scooped up the shell with the grub and blew it hard and fast back to the familiar forest. The ladybird girl was strolling sadly when she caught sight of her little friend. She ran over and hugged him at once. "I'm so pleased that you've come back and that you're okay. I've looked for you all over the place," Dolly stuttered. "I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. Now you can tell me what you wanted to say." "The winter's on its way, and I'd like to come and stay with you away from the cold." "Of course you can. This box will make a perfect bed. I'll put a soft pillow in it and a tiny blanket. You'll feel very comfortable, I promise."
4 seasons. One day at the end of the winter, 3 bark beetles knocked angrily on Leapy's door.
"We wanted to dress up as princes for the party, but the 3 fleas are going to be princes. and that's not good. Our crowns and capes are all ready, but we can't wear them. Oh, please help us. Have you got any ideas what we could wear?
They all shouted at once.
Maybe you could be 3 snowballs because everything is covered in snow outside. It would be easy to make the costumes.
Oh, no. That's no good, Leapy. We'd melt the minute we walked into Balthazar's house. We'd turn into a puddle on the floor in no time at all.
Then you could go as cutlery, a knife, a fork and a spoon. You'd only need silver foil.
That's a super idea, Leapy. But we haven't got any silver foil. And we haven't got enough time before tomorrow to get some. We need to think of something simpler.
What do you say to a camel? That's perfect for the 3 of you. A head and 2 humps.
Yes, but the ants went as a camel last year, so it's been done. We need to think of something new. And what are you going as, Leapy?
The bark beetles asked.
I don't know. I still haven't decided.
The grasshopper girl hesitated.
Then the 4 of us could go together,
the boys suggested.
OK, but what could we go as? 4 flowers? Or 4 devils?
Maybe 4 stars or 4 planets.
The bark beetles listed.
That's not good enough. We need to go with something that there are only 4 of. Only 4, no more, no less. I know the perfect thing. The 4 seasons.
Yes, that's perfect,
the bark beetle said and jumped up and down.
There are 4 seasons. Leapy can be spring because that's girly. And we can dress up as summer, autumn and winter.
They all got hard to work. Leapy sewed herself a pink dress and decorated it with white flowers. She put a pink flower crown on her head. She looked so pretty that the bark beetles all blushed when they saw her. The 3 boys' costumes were soon finished. Summer wore green with a sun on his tummy and a leaf on his hat. Autumn wore all yellow, covered in colourful leaves. Winter's costume was blue, with lots and lots of snowflakes. The next day, they all set off to Balthazar's house for the fancy dress party. The bumblebee was dressed as a fireman. He warmly welcomed Leapy and the bark beetles.
The 4 seasons have arrived.
Eddie was dressed as a carrot, Bubble as a rocket, Betty as a drop of water, Rosita as a bird, Zephyr as a bus ticket, Morris as a sugar cube, Flutter as a banana, Dolly as a sweetie, and Charlie as a dog. The Forest Friends voted for the best costume. And of course, the 4 seasons won. Stanley came second with his rainbow costume. Third place went to the snails, to Berry and Sam, who came dressed as a train. Everybody was very happy, and the 3 fleas came to congratulate the winners. Bubbles. Leapy, Zephyr, Berry and Bubble were having a contest to see who could blow the biggest bubbles.
Look at the size of those. Leapy's the best,
Bubble cheered. The grasshopper girl blew bigger and bigger bubbles while the others stood around and clapped. Christopher soon arrived carrying Dolly and her yellow cousin Katie Ladybird. Can we join in the game? Berry passed the bubble blower to Dolly and the 2 tiny ladybirds began to blow bubbles.
Look at the size of those ones. Katie's bubbles are even bigger than Leapy's.
Leapy gave Katie a grumpy look and started to blow bubbles again, but none as large as Katie's.
You're a very clever ladybird girl. You've blown the biggest bubbles today. Katie's not even a real ladybird. Her back's yellow. She should paint it red instead.
Leapy, it's mean to tease, and you're only teasing because Katie blew bigger bubbles than you.
Leapy, you've upset Katie. Help me cheer her up again.
I think I'd rather go home.
She really didn't mean it. She was only being mean because of the bubbles.
Leapy arrived home in the meantime, but she did not know what to do with herself. She sat down to eat, but her food tasted all wrong. She started to draw, but she kept getting it wrong. And then she decided to take a walk. Christopher the canary happened to be flying by.
I didn't mean to upset Katie.
I know, Christopher smiled, and he wrapped his wings around the sobbing grasshopper girl. It's not nice to tease.
I didn't mean to. Katie is a real ladybird, and her yellow wings look lovely.
Then tell her just that, like you've told me. Leapy decided to take Christopher's advice. She set off to tell Katie that she did not mean to upset her. But when she arrived, all she said was,
"What are you doing?"
"We're going for a trip to the lake,"
Katie replied. And just then, Harry Hedgehog arrived with his Conker carts. Dolly and Katie jumped in the back and they were off on their way. Leapy stood and gave a sad wave. The next day, she set off again to say sorry to Katie. Katie was sitting down by the lake.
"Hi, Katie,"
she began.
"There's something I'd like to say."
But before she could begin, Spider arrived.
"I've got to go, Leapy. You can tell me tomorrow, okay?"
Katie told her and jumped onto Spider's back and hurried off with Dolly and Flutter.
"Why are you so sad?"
Bubble asked.
"I'd like to apologise to Katie, but it keeps going wrong."
"Don't be sad. Come inside. We'll think of something. I've got an idea already. Why don't you give Katie a little present?"
"I know. I could give her my bubble blower,"
Leapy exclaimed and hugged the little flower beetle. Leapy wrapped the bubble blower up the moment she got home, and she could hardly wait to give the yellow butterfly girls a lovely present. The sun was setting in the sky when she walked over to the spotty house. Dolly, Katie, Zephyr and Berry were planting flowers outside.
"What beautiful flowers! Can I help too?"
"Of course you can. I'll show you which flowers we're planting where," Dolly explained.
"Katie, I brought this for you,"
Leapy stuttered and passed the package to the yellow ladybird girl.
"It was silly of me to say that you're not a real butterfly."
Katie opened the parcel and smiled.
"A bubble blower! Thank you, Leapy. I'm not upset anymore."
The hot air balloon. One summer afternoon, a storm blew up in the forest. Dolly the ladybird and Berry the snail sat watching it from the spotty house. The wild wind twisted the trees and blew the roofs off houses. The rain came down in buckets. When the rain and wind finally stopped, the two friends took a look around the forest.
"Look, Dolly, the wind blew this tree over," Berry said. "And the rain washed away my flowers," Dolly sighed.
Leapy the grasshopper came rushing in.
"Dolly! Berry! Come quickly! Someone's lying in the meadow!"
The friends found an oil beetle lying in the meadow.
"Oh, what happened to you? What's your name? Who are you?"
Dolly sputtered.
I'm Adette the oil beetle. I live up in the mountains, but the wind blew me down here and I hit my head really hard. My wings are weak and I can't fly. I don't know how I'm going to get home. The oil beetle sniffled. They lifted Adette up and carried her into Leapy's house. Don't worry, Dolly said eventually. We'll help you get home. That afternoon, Balthazar the bee, Flutter the butterfly and Stanley the stag beetle all came to see Adette. They tried to think of ways to help her get home. The best thing would be a hot air balloon, Stanley said. But what could we use to make a balloon? Berry asked. We could use blankets, pillows and sheets, Flutter suggested. And curtains and towels too, Stanley added. They got to work immediately. They stitched all the blankets, curtains, sheets and towels together. It took a while to get everything finished, but Adette helped as much as she could. Every day she was feeling stronger, and even her head had stopped hurting. It's ready. Thank you, the oil beetle replied happily. Hooray! We're flying! Berry exclaimed. Wow, it's beautiful! We can see the whole forest from here, Dolly laughed. It started to get dark. When they eventually arrived, Adette cried out, Hooray! I'm home! Thank you. Please stay the night and watch the shooting stars with me. We'd love to, the little friends said. Adette quickly made them something to eat and gave them delicious cakes and tea. After dinner, they all sat down in front of Adette's house and waited for shooting stars to appear in the night sky. Hooray! I saw a shooting star! Berry exclaimed excitedly. Me too, Dolly said. And me, added Stanley. They went into Adette's house when it got colder and sat and watched the stars through the window. They all made a wish and fell fast asleep. As she slowly drifted to sleep, Adette wished that someday she would meet her new friends again. The Snowman. One cold winter morning, Berry the snail knocked on Dolly's front door. Let's go and play with my sledge in the snow. Dolly quickly put on her winter coat and her hat, scarf and gloves. She sat on the sledge and the little snail pulled her along. Eventually, the snow stopped. Berry and Dolly enjoyed the winter sunshine. They sledged down the steep side of the hill. Look at that super snowman! Berry shouted. Oh dear, we're going to hit it! But it was too late. The sledge ran right into the snowman that stood at the foot of the hill. Did you hurt yourself? Berry asked Dolly. No, I didn't, but I think we've ruined the snowman. Yes, it tipped right over, Berry said. I'm going to eat its carrot nose. Let's have a snowball fight with the snow from the snowman. Berry and Dolly started to throw snowballs.
It was a lot of fun. Soon there was almost nothing left of the snowman. Just then, Balthazar the bee appeared and said hello to his friends. "Do you want to throw snowballs with us?"
I'm too busy. I've brought a hat and a scarf to put on my snowman I built yesterday. Haven't you seen it?
Berry and Dolly looked at each other.
Oh dear,
Berry whispered.
Balthazar must be looking for the snowman we hit.
They didn't dare tell Balthazar that they'd knocked his snowman over.
No, we haven't seen a snowman.
I can't find my snowman anywhere.
Berry and Dolly felt very sorry for the little bee.
Don't be sad,
Berry said finally.
Let's build a new one.
Okay,
Balthazar sniffled. Dolly made the biggest snowball. It went on the bottom. Balthazar made the middle one for the snowman's tummy. And Berry made the smallest snowball for the snowman's head. Then Dolly lifted Berry up so he could stick the head on top. Then the snowman was finished and Balthazar could finally put the stripy scarf around its neck. Berry took a big jump and put the red saucepan on its head for a hat.
Hey, it looks really super,
Balthazar said enthusiastically.
Balthazar, we've got something to tell you. We smashed your first snowman. We slid right into it with our sledge. It was an accident.
What? It was you?
Balthazar was very surprised, but then he soon forgave his friends.
This snowman looks much better than the first one,
he declared.
Come on, let's sledge down the hill together.
Berry, Dolly and Balthazar played with the sledge until it got dark and were very careful not to hit their new snowman.